So, you're here because you're curious about this Oura Ring 4, right?
I'd say that's a pretty safe bet.
Huh, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's everywhere you look,
it's definitely generating some buzz.
for sure. But I think a lot of people, myself included, honestly, are kind of wondering, like, is it really all that?
That's what we're here to find out, right?
Right.
Cutting through the hype, getting into the nitty-gritty.
Exactly. And we've got a super detailed review to dig into, so.
Let's dive in.
Okay, so for anyone who's maybe not totally familiar, the Oura Ring, it's basically a health tracker you wear on your finger, right? Like it tracks your activity, your sleep.
All those juicy biometrics. Sleep stages, heart rate variability, even your skin temperature.
Right. But what I'm really interested in is this whole idea of personalized insights. Like, how is the Oura Ring 4 any different from, say, a Fitbit or an Apple Watch, which already give you tons of data?
That's the million-dollar question, and it's where this comparison to its predecessor, the Gen 3, gets really interesting.
Okay, so what's new? What's different?
Well, on the surface, the Oura Ring 4 boasts a sleeker design. They've gone with titanium this time around.
Fancy.
Yeah, and they're claiming slightly longer battery life, too, up to 8 days now compared to the Gen 3's 7.
Okay, so a little more stylish, a little more juice, but is that really it?
Not quite. One of the big under-the-hood changes is the number of signal pathways. They've basically doubled them compared to the Gen 3.
Okay, I'll be honest, that doesn't mean a whole lot to me. What does that even do?
It all comes down to data accuracy. Think of it like this. The Gen 3 could tell if you were moving, but this upgrade lets the Ring 4 actually tell the difference between, say, walking and cycling.
Oh, so it's getting more specific with the types of activities it's tracking.
Exactly. More data points, more nuance.
Got it. So that's the hardware side of things, but what about the software? Everyone's raving about this redesigned app.
The app is where all that raw data gets transformed into, well, hopefully something meaningful.
And they've given it a complete makeover, right?
Totally. It's much cleaner, very user-friendly. You've got 3 main tabs now. Today, Vitals, and My Health.
Right. And from what I've read, that Today tab is really where the Oura Ring 4 tries to set itself apart.
Absolutely. This is where they're really pushing the whole personalized insights angle. Like the review we're looking at actually said something like, Aura's health metrics are a bit more personalized and proactive, which I have to say piqued my interest.
Proactive, huh? What does that even look like?
So imagine waking up in the morning and instead of just telling you, hey, you slept badly, the app goes a step further and suggests a light yoga routine because it noticed your resting heart rate was a little elevated.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's actually pretty cool.
Right. It's about giving you those nudges throughout the day to help you make healthier choices.
So it's almost like having a virtual health coach in your pocket.
That's a great way to put it. And that seems to be the direction a lot of these wearables are heading in.
It makes sense, though, right? I mean, most of us are drowning in data these days. It's overwhelming.
Absolutely. We don't need more data. We need someone or something to help us make sense of it all.
Exactly. Okay, so we're starting to see what makes the Oura Ring 4 tick. But the big question is, how effective is this personalized approach?
That's the heart of it, isn't it? Is it just a clever marketing gimmick, or is there a real science behind it? And that's what we'll dive into next.
Okay, so we've talked about the personalized insights, but now I want to get into this symptom radar thing.
Ah, yes, the symptom radar.
It sounds kind of, I don't know, futuristic, right? Like something out of Star Trek.
A little bit, yeah. But it's important to understand what it is and what it isn't. The Oura Ring 4 is not a medical device.
Right. It's not going to replace your doctor anytime soon.
Definitely not, no. So no self-diagnosing based on your ring. But what it does do is monitor your baseline metrics.
So, like, if it senses I'm about to come down with something.
That's the general idea, but it's more nuanced than that. It's not predicting the future, but it is looking for those subtle changes that might suggest something's off, before you even feel sick.
Give me an example. What kind of changes are we talking about?
Okay, so let's say your temperature jumps up a degree or 2 overnight, or maybe your heart rate variability takes a nosedive. These could be early signs that your body's fighting something off.
Hold on. Heart rate variability.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of that before?
Honestly, not really. I've seen it on my fitness tracker, but...
It's pretty interesting, actually. So HRV, as it's called, refers to the tiny variations in time between your heartbeats.
Like how evenly spaced out your heartbeats are.
Exactly. And a more variable heart rate, meaning the gaps between beats aren't perfectly uniform. That's actually a good thing. It means your body is adaptable, responsive to stress, all that.
Wow, I had no idea. So the symptom radar, it picks up on these changes, these patterns, that we might not even notice ourselves.
Precisely. And then in an ideal world, you use that information to, maybe take it easy that day, prioritize rest.
So you can get ahead of it before it knocks you out for the count.
Exactly. And actually, there's a great anecdote about this in the review. The reviewer actually got sick while they were testing the ring. A bug, nothing serious.
Okay. And did the ring predict it?
Well, not exactly predict, but it did detect a change in their temperature overnight, before they even felt sick.
No way. And they said that was helpful.
Yeah, they mentioned it gave them a heads up to take it easy that day, They weren't hit with the full force of it until later, so maybe having that extra time to rest helped.
Interesting. I can see how that would be useful. But I also wonder, is there a risk of getting too in your head about it? Become hyper aware of every little fluctuation.
That's definitely something to be mindful of. I think the key is context. The symptom radar combined with how you're feeling, any other symptoms you might be experiencing, that's when it can be really valuable information. But it's not a replacement for a doctor.
100%. I'm all for being proactive about my health, but I'm definitely not going to start self-diagnosing based on what my ring tells me.
And it's not just Oura doing this, by the way.
You mean other wearables have similar features?
Totally. Look at the Apple Watch with its Vitals app. It's all part of this bigger trend, this move toward giving people more insight into their own well-being.
And more control, right.
Exactly. Knowledge is power.
For sure. Okay, so we've talked about the good, the potentially great, but now it's time to address the elephant in the room, shall we say.
Oh, I know exactly what you're going to say. The subscription.
Bingo. $6 a month. What's the deal with that?
Yeah, it's a sticking point for a lot of people, especially since, a lot of the core features we've talked about, they're available without the subscription.
So what do I actually get for my $6 a month? Is it worth it?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And that's what we'll explore next, right after this quick break.
All right, so we're back, and let's be real, $6 a month, it's not exactly breaking the bank, but...
But it adds up, right?
Yeah.
And it's not like we're swimming in disposable income these days.
Exactly. So the question is, what are we really getting for that monthly fee? Is it worth it?
Well, the basic features, the activity tracking, the sleep stages, even that cool HRV stuff we were talking about, that's all included without the subscription.
Okay, so what's the catch?
The catch is those personalized insights. The tailored recommendations, the deep dives into your data, that's all locked behind the paywall.
Ah, I see. So it's kind of like you get the basic checkup for free, but if you want the specialist's opinion...
You got to shell out a few bucks.
Exactly. And that's where a lot of people are going to be on the fence, right? Because, on one hand, it'd be awesome to have that extra level of guidance.
Totally. It's like having a health coach whispering in your ear all day, helping you make those tiny incremental changes that lead to big results over time.
Exactly. But then there's that other part of you that's like, come on, is it really worth it? Can't I just figure this stuff out on my own?
And that's a valid question for sure, especially when you consider what other companies are doing in this space. If you look at Samsung, Apple, a lot of their health platforms are baked into the initial device purchase, right? No monthly fee.
Right. So it seems like Oura is banking on the fact that their personalized approach is what sets them apart.
Yeah.
That it's worth paying extra for.
Exactly. They're betting on the power of personalization. And, maybe they're onto something.
Maybe so. It's definitely food for thought. Well, we've covered a lot of ground here, folks. We've talked about the sleek new design, those doubled signal pathways, the whole symptom radar thing.
Don't forget heart rate variability.
Oh, right. I got to brush up on our HRV knowledge. But ultimately, the big takeaway here is that the Oura Ring 4 is more than just a fancy fitness tracker.
It's trying to be more proactive. It wants to be your partner in health, not just a data collector.
And that's a really interesting concept, isn't it? Where does this all lead?
Right. What's next? Are we all going to have these AI-powered health gurus on our fingers telling us what to eat, when to sleep, how to live our best lives?
I mean, I'm not going to lie, a part of me kind of hopes so. But hey, maybe that's a conversation for another deep dive.
Definitely. But in the meantime, if you're considering the Oura Ring 4, ask yourself this. What would your ideal health companion be capable of? What kind of insights would be truly game-changing for you?
That's a great question. And on that note, we'll leave you to ponder that. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. Until next time, stay curious and stay healthy.